Our small cap company in focus tonight is Diatreme Resources. Now, the company is a minerals explorer based in Brisbane with a market cap of around $25 million. For a look at the company in more detail and to get a read on its outlook for 2010, we spoke with Diatreme Executive Chairman Tony Fawdon.
Well, we're a diversified explorer. We operate just in Australia and we're based in Brisbane. We've got about approximately 200 million shares on issue. We're listed on the ASX, and at this time we've made a major discovery in the Eucla Basin where we've got a major zircon deposit.
So that's obviously your major project. Where are you with that?
Right, we're now at a point where we found 100 million tonnes approximately of just under 3%, which is zircon dominant, which is the high price material, and the position is that we are going to a scoping study, pre-feasibility, and we want to be in a feasibility next year, about mid next year.
Now, making the step from explorer to producer is a very big one. When do you expect that to happen?
This will happen principally when we finish the feasibility, which will take 2 years. By that stage we'll know how we're going to mine, how we're going to process, how we're going to take the product to the markets, and in that situation we will then be bringing on board the miners, the metallurgists, the accounting people, and everyone required to run a mining operation.
Your share price has had quite a good year. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I beg to differ there. Our share price was much higher early in the year. It's taken a bit of a caning of late, but we see ourselves as being very, very undervalued, and at the moment there is some $3 billion worth of product in the ground, and we would look to try and double that over the next 2 to 3 years of exploration before we go to mining.
Diatreme has compared Cyclone to Iluka's $420 million Jacinth Ambrosia project in the South Australian side of the Eucla Basin. What is the comparison and how soon could you be in production?
The interesting thing is that there's 3 unique deposits in the whole of the world, which is a $10 billion industry. That's for raw product. And the position is that Tripitaka and Jacinth, which is owned by Iluka, and Cyclone, which is owned by Diatreme, are unique. They are high in zircon, high in rutile, which makes them high value deposits, as opposed to the rest of the world, which is mainly ilmenite, which is low value. So we have at this time found approximately about 100 million tonnes. We know we can probably pick up another 40 million tonnes in the area from satellite deposits, and of course to the south of us there's probably approximately another 50-60 million tonnes sitting to the south of us. So when all this is cobbled together with the different groups in the area and ourselves, then this will mean that we will have the size and the mass needed to go to mining.
Zircon prices are currently reaching as much as $950 per tonne. Just how valuable could Cyclone prove to be to Diatreme?
Well, at the present time there's approximately, if you do your sums, about 1 million tonnes of zircon sitting in the ground. This doesn't include leucoxene or rutile, which are other high-priced minerals. There's about 2 million tonnes of that material, and as we know that the price of zircon is probably going to go up over the next 2 to 3 years as it becomes a market or supply crunch, as the supply doesn't meet the demand.
Now, the Alabama project in South Australia is a prospective for copper, gold and heavy minerals. How has the project been progressing?
Very well indeed. We actually have 3 projects. We have Belfield in North Queensland, Claremont in South Australia, and Alabama in South Australia. And each of these are starting to produce significant mineralisation in terms of grade and tonnage. It's early days yet. We also found gold at Claremont, and we just identified a gold field which is about 6 kilometres long by 4 kilometres wide. We were getting some samples as high as 50 grams per tonne, and this is early days. So yes, we are drilling at Claremont to find a porphyry copper system, which is very similar to, say, a large mine like Cadia. We haven't found it yet, but we're well on the way. And at Belfield we've identified new areas where we're getting up to several grams per tonne gold and a few percents copper. And these are new targets which we'll be progressing through the next year.
Now, Diatreme does say that the Eucla Basin could become a source of new long-term supply to the declining WA mineral sands industry. How likely is this to occur? And what kind of support have you had from the government in terms of infrastructure provisions?
We've had, to answer the last question first, we haven't had any real support at this point in time. But we are now approaching government, and we're approaching state development. Of course, the Premier is the Minister for that in WA. So we've approached them, we've told them what we're doing. The position is that Cyclone is probably going to end up one of the largest deposits currently in WA. And this will be a significant deposit for the WA economy, because the mineral sands deposits along the coast from Eneabba all the way down to Bunbury are slowly but surely closing down, except for parts of the North Perth Basin.
What's your outlook for the gold price for next year and also other heavy metals?
I've been to China several times. We have a lot of investors coming from China and end user groups who are interested in getting involved with our company at Diatreme. And the position is, when you see cities which are modern, 12 to 20 million people. You can see new cities being built literally in 2 years. All of these demand enormous amounts of zircon, enormous amounts of rutile and copper. And we can see ourselves in a super cycle which is probably going to last at least another 20 years. We've had 10 years where, the last 10 years, where 400 million people have been urbanized in China. And we're going to see the next 10 years where another 400 million is going to be urbanized in China. This means that over the next little bit, say next 2 years, there could be anything up to 3 to 4 million high-rise buildings built, which could incorporate in 5 or 6 cities.
Diatreme has continued to invest heavily in exploration throughout the recent global financial crisis. Why exactly is that?
Well, there were several things happening. We wanted to differentiate ourselves from, if you like, the rest of the herd. So what we did when everyone else was closing down, we actually started to crank up. And we raised capital, and we were able to get drilling rigs for the first time. We were able to get geologists, which we weren't able to get before. The price of drilling rigs had dropped, and other components of exploration. And we were able to really steam into a heavy exploration program. We were burning at the rate of $7 million a year in exploration, which is equivalent to a medium explorer or a medium miner.
So with the benefit of hindsight, was that actually a good move?
Absolutely. We just had a vision and we were going for it. We wanted to come out of the end of this crisis with mines.